did India need four spinners?
Yeah, no. And looking back, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think you could have bowled Siraj more. I know Siraj was expensive in the first innings, but the pitch, what the pitch came out to be was exactly a Siraj pitch. It's what he loves. If you guys, if you remember that one Asia Cup game in Sri Lanka when he got like 6 wickets and 7 runs, this was literally a pitch just like that, where it was inconsistent bounce and he is just able to target those stumps.
You thought India would learn their lesson from playing New Zealand and losing 3-0 to New Zealand. You thought that we wouldn't see another spinning shit tip again, a shit pitch, we should say again. But here we are after the first test against South Africa with another quote unquote shit pitch, but apparently a pitch that was what the Indian team management wanted, what Gautam Gambhir said they wanted. And here we are talking about India losing the first test match against South Africa. South Africa with their first win in India after several years. I forget the actual stat, but I think it's like more than 15 or so years at least. India went from dominating the first day to being in the driver's seat to losing the driver's seat and then losing the actual match. Thoughts on the game?
No, I think you captured it all right there, Tron. Ups and downs of game. I think the game itself, cricket, it was an incredible low scoring match. If you were a fan of cricket, you enjoyed, the tense moments that the game delivered. But as an Indian fan, and if you are an Indian fan out there, it was a disappointing game. India's records are now being broken at home, not in a good way. As you just mentioned, South Africa claiming victory in India after a very long time. We obviously know what happened with New Zealand a few months ago as well. India's once known as once home record being defensible on all fronts, having literally making every pitch in India a fortress to now really going 1-0 down against South Africa in a 2-match series. It's incredible. It's really incredible.
This is exactly what I said that could happen if India rolled out pitches where it was very hard for the batters to bat, regardless of which side you're on. And this is exactly what happened. And when I don't know, have our batters forgotten how to play against quality spin or just spin in general? It seems like the ability to apply yourself and just dig in, score runs is lost on our current batting unit, especially in conditions like this. Like on other pitches, like we saw in England, like we saw against West Indies, they're fine. But as soon as you roll out rank turners, it's like they find it extremely challenging to navigate it through. And you think they would because these conditions are not foreign conditions. They're supposedly home conditions, but they're not able to handle it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is concerning, and one school of thought is they've definitely included a lot more all rounders. They've let go of some people who have historically played well domestically against spin, aka Sarfaraz Khan. So a lot of these people who are some considered specialist batsmen who may be able to play spin a little bit better at home. There is that school of thought that from a selection perspective, they could have chosen specialist batsmen if they knew, as Gautam Gambhir said, this is the pitch that they want.
Yeah, so we start at the end where India were chasing 124 in the first innings after literally no batter was able to score anything other than that Temba Bavuma. We'll get to his innings, probably as good as a century that innings, but we'll get to that where teams struggled to get to 200. India were 11 short of 200 in their first innings. They only got a lead of 30 in that first innings, then bowled out South Africa for 153. That should have been even less than it was. Again, we'll talk about that. So India chasing 124, you would think that they would somehow manage to do it, given again its quote unquote home conditions. But no, it was tough right from the first over where Jaiswal lost his wicket to Jansen. Then we had Rahul get out to Jansen as well. Then we saw some sort of stability from Jurel and Washi batting at 3. Another topic we'll talk about. And you felt like, okay, one decent partnership and it was game over. But South Africa were relentless. Shout out to Simon Harmer. Keshav Maharaj didn't have the greatest game, but Simon Harmer literally carried him. And again, we said this on the preview, where South Africa are coming into this with practice. They've played on wickets like this in Pakistan. Pakistan tried the exact same thing in the second test match. It failed. And here's South Africa with a win under their belt, playing in these conditions, experiencing these conditions, more so than the Indian team, who just most of these players played in Australia in a completely different format. And then we had them play West Indies, which is a severely undercooked West Indies team. No experience, and didn't have the potency, whether with ball or bat. So completely different challenge altogether. And here we are playing against the Test world champions. Again, we have to reiterate that South Africa are champions, and they played like it.
No, they did. They did. They did. And you do have to look at the pitch. You called it from the beginning. The pitch kind of equalized the batting, right? And that's what it was. It was basically which batters was able to really take care of the inconsistent bounce and the inconsistent speed that the ball was coming at. Um, and it just happened to be that just India didn't have the experience. And maybe, one right thing that Gautam Gambhir mentioned in his press conference, because I don't think there was a lot of right things he said. One of the right things that I do think he may have mentioned is that this team is young, fair, but also this team lacks the ability to absorb pressure. I think you saw that was with Washington Sundar, kind of saw that with Jarrell, but this is test cricket, right? You need to absorb the pressure, especially at 3 and 4, to have a match winning innings. You can't rely on sort of, the middle orders for these type of games sometimes. And one more thing as well, very, very disappointed with Rishabh Pant. I don't remember a fourth innings chase from him other than the Gabba. It's been some time before he was clutch punt in my eyes.
Yeah, he tried against New Zealand. I think it was the second or third test match where he was the lone hand, but he couldn't get India over the line. So yeah, I'm with you in terms of a winning performance. The one that I remember is the Gabba. I don't remember the other ones. If you do in the comments, just let us know. But yeah, I'm with you there. It was a team dismissal really. Like he could have gone harder at the ball. It ended up being a cotton bowl. But again, you could say like the pitch or the bowling got the better of him. Simon Harmer got him really good in the deliveries before that in terms of Punt wasn't sure how to play the balls, which is unlike Punt. He usually is able to figure it out, but Simon Harmer had the ball on a string and he was able to put it wherever he chose. And kudos to him for the performance that he put up with the four-fers in both innings. But yeah, I'm with you there with the big miss for India is Shubman Gill. An unfortunate injury, hit a four and sprained his neck, and you could see that he was visibly in pain. I couldn't really move his upper neck region, and who knows how long he's going to be out for. Hopefully, he's back for the second test, but that was evidently a huge loss because you're talking another 20, 30 runs from him in one of the innings, if not at least 50 runs in both innings combined. That's the game right there.
I blame management for that one, in my eyes. I think they could have definitely figured out some load management. Right off the Asia Cup, you fly him down for the West Indies test match, fly him back down to Australia because, he's in line for that all for my captain. It's tough. He's young, it's tough, and now he's back playing test cricket in different conditions. Again, he was fit and everything, prior to this. England tour as well. Let's not forget about that, right? But, your body catches up to you. It's test cricket. It is the format that takes the most out of you. And it was a second innings. And yeah, I do think, especially a series at home against South Africa, maybe he didn't have to play certain games in Australia. I think definitely load management played a part in his injury.
Yeah, who knows? It was a very weird injury. Like it's one of the rarer injuries to get a neck injury. I don't know. It must have been like just one of those where this the recovery wasn't there in maybe the stretching or whatever strength and conditioning he's been doing. To your point, could the amount of games that he's been playing for the past several months could have taken a toll on him finally. And yeah, I'm with you there. It's a totally other conversation about what formats he should be playing, but I think we're both in agreement that he should just focus on tests and one days and not play T20Is because India just has so many options there where he wouldn't be as missed in that format as he would be in tests and wonders. So, but a separate conversation. And yeah, I think management missed a point there. They could have rested him to avoid a situation like this, but it could have still happened. You never know, right? Well, coming back to the chase, Washi held his own in both innings. He played really well. He
How did
seemed
he look?
compact. Yeah, he sorry.
How did he look at 3?
He looked great. He looked great. He looked compact. I did hear it was Sanjay Bangar that said on one of the analyst shows where he made an interesting point. He said how perhaps if a dedicated number three, like someone or a full on batsman, someone like a Sai Sudharsan or even a Devdutt Padikkal, who are both in the side, they would have known how to convert a 20 and 30 into a bigger score. And I thought that was a really well made point because, yeah, Washi, I'm not too familiar with his first class stats, but I'm fairly certain he's a lower middle order batsman in any team that he plays in. So I don't know how much of experience he has batting at three, knowing how to build an innings at three. Yeah, he's got the game to and the technique to play an innings and absorb balls and pressure, but knowing how to build an innings is a completely different beast, especially when you're at number three and you got to be able to play the newish ball, the older ball, the ball that we're seeing, all kinds of facets of the condition of the ball. So I thought it was a well made point that maybe a specialist number three would have done better. But again, it's a what if scenario.
It is a what if scenario, but I do agree with that. And I think part of the reason, because I agree, I think Sundar looked incredible at 3. I think part of the reason he looked great at 3 is because we haven't had recent success at 3. As much as people want to believe in Sai Sudharsan, he's not a Kohli. Now, if Kohli was just retired, or sorry, not Kohli, Pujara just retired, and Washi was just playing, you would see the contrast a lot bigger, right? Because to your point, it is such a pivotal position. Even Jurel as well. Jurel coming in at 4, it is a very pivotal position. So when you play at those marks, you absorb the pressure, but you then also have to convert. And once you get that start, that's what people say. Once you get that start, you have to convert it.
Yes, so India weren't able to do that. None of the batters were able to lock in. No one was able to score a substantial score to take India past the line. Akshar Patel tried at the end where he tried to hit a couple sixes, try to get a big over, get some quick runs going and get India close to it, but it just felt like one ball bouncing a little higher or a little lower would get him, right? It was that kind of a wicket the entire test match. And that's exactly what happened. And kudos to Keshav Maharaj, who was the weakest bowler in the lineup for this test match. It's unlike him; he just had an off test match, but he was able to hold his own and prize his wicket out. That pretty much finished the game right there.
Yeah, yeah, and like again, just focusing on the bowling there, they did not miss Rabada. They did not
Mhm.
miss Rabada. South Africa is 1-0 up without playing Rabada, and people put him up there in the top 5 fast bowlers in Test cricket. They did not even need him.
Yeah, yeah, well said. They didn't even need him, and he's most likely going to come back in. That'll be interesting to see how they shape their squad for the next test. But yeah, no Rambada still able to pull off the W. So let's talk about how South Africa were able to set India 124. So the first innings on both sides was pretty much a wash. You felt that when South Africa scored 159, that you needed India to bat to get a sense of how this wicket truly is, because they always say don't judge a pitch or a wicket or a performance until the second team bats. And once India batted, you got the feeling that yeah, this is one of those wickets where it's going to be hard work to put up any type of runs on it. So no fluency from any of the batsmen in the first innings on both sides. Again, Washi looked good for India on South Africa in the first innings. Some starts by most of the batsmen. Aiden Marker and Ryan Rickleton got off to great starts, and then Tony DeZorzi had a start as well. William Mulder on India's side. Rahul got a good solid 39. Washi 29, as we said. Jaddu got 27. Rishabh Pant made a quick fire 27. So lots of starts, but the fact that they weren't able to kick on is a testament to how hard the pitch was. That even after getting a start, you weren't truly in. One ball could have gotten your wicket, and that's exactly what happened. So India ended up with a 30-run lead, and then we got into South Africa's second innings. It was the end of day 2, and South Africa were 90 something, 90 odd. I think it was 93, 94 for 7. And at this point in time, South Africa were leading by 63. And you felt, and we talked about this offline. You felt that if India kept South Africa under 100, it was India's game. But I remember specifically telling you, if South Africa managed to get a lead of 100 plus, it would be
Yep.
game on. And that's exactly what happened. And because of one partnership, which was between Corbin Bosch and the man, the skipper himself, Captain Fantastic over here, Temba Bavuma, who stood tall, as Ashwin said, amongst all the batters, regardless of his height, and was able to play an innings for the ages. It was only 55, but I said this at the start of the episode. This 55 is as good as any century I've seen.
His defense was incredible. He was picking the ball, back foot, front foot defense, both impeccable. He kind of showed you what classic test match batting was. You know, holding one end, very confident, literally, especially when the spinners are on, defense, boom, ready for the next one. He was in those motions that I'm sure, you've seen growing up in classic test match battles where it's grueling, spinners are on, but the batsman is just in their zone.
Yeah. Yeah. No big shots, just four boundaries. He literally grinded out the runs, absorbed the pressure, played within the lines of the ball, didn't go chasing, didn't react weirdly if the ball kicked off a length
Yep.
or kept low, just stayed with himself and played an innings that literally got South Africa to a target that gave them a chance. And he was well supported by Corbin Bosch, whose innings I thought was like, I don't know how he did it, but he hung in there. He hit what the balls that he could. There were a couple 1-6, couple boundaries in there, but he managed to stitch that partnership that got South Africa to a place where they could have even pushed it towards 150 because Bavuma didn't look like he was going to get out. He just needed to be supported somehow, but kudos to Siraj for cleaning up the last two wickets. Otherwise, that could have gotten them closer to 150. But it was literally just that one partnership, and that's what this test match came down to. It was one innings, one partnership that could change the game, and that was it in this case.
Yeah, I know you're exactly right. When you mentioned getting the lead over 100 was going to be a concern for India, and it definitely played. And yeah, no, Bavuma, we all know how of a classic player he is, and how in charge he is of the dressing room. It was nice to see that this was as everyone loves to call it, a classic captain's innings. The captain was there steering the ship, and hey, got the W. And this is literally part of the reason why they are the current world test champions. Incredible batting, and test cricket runs deep in South African history. So it's really great to see.
Yeah, it was a great victory for South Africa. Definitely well deserved, and they're definitely going to be celebrating this one. I know a lot of the South African cricket pundits like Sean Pollock, they're super excited about this win, and rightly so. It doesn't happen very often. Whenever you play a team like India or a team like Australia or any country really in their home conditions, getting an away victory is always cherished. And kudos to them for pulling this off. A little bit about India's bowling. So maybe
Mhm.
bowlers in general. I felt the wicket was a wicket for the bowlers. So I feel like you shouldn't be taking a lot out of this if you are a bowler, because I mean if you're not able to take wickets on this pitch, I don't know what wicket you're going to be taking wickets on, or what pitch you're going to be taking wickets on. Jaddu was good across both
Yeah.
innings. Bumrah was Bumrah as usual. I guess the talking point here is, did India need four spinners?
Yeah, no, and looking back, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think you could have bowled Siraj more. I know Siraj was expensive in the first innings, but the pitch, what the pitch came out to be was exactly a Siraj pitch. It what he loves. If you guys, if you remember that one Asia Cup game in Sri Lanka when he got like 6 wickets and 7 runs, this was literally a pitch just like that, where it was inconsistent bounce, and he is just able to target those stumps, and that's how he got those 2 wickets in 2 overs.
Yeah, I personally feel that India should have gone with an extra bat, knowing that if it's true that this is the pitch that they wanted, why would you stack your bowling attack when you know that the bowlers would do well because it is a bowling friendly pitch? You would want to stack your batters because you'd know, like we said, one good innings can change the entire game. And so I would have gone one bowler less. I'm gonna say it. I probably would have left out Kuldeep Yadav. Kuldeep Yadav is someone that I believe you need in conditions where the pitch isn't that suitable
Yeah.
for bowlers, where it's a little flatter. You need someone with a little bit of magic, a little bit of mystery to get the batter out somehow. That's where Kuldeep Yadav comes into play. But on a wicket which is already suitable for bowlers, you just need someone that's length and line, like a Jaddu, like an Akshar Patel, like a Washi. That's all you need with a little bit of turn here and there, just the odd doosra, the straighter one, and you're good. You let the pitch do its thing. You don't need a mystery man there. You don't need someone like Kuldeep that can turn the ball 5 different ways. You need that on a flatter pitch. So I would have probably left out Kuldeep, put a full-on batter in the mix. Now you have Akshar Patel coming at number 9, and now you're talking about an extra at least 20 or 30 runs from the extra batter, and which would have helped you doubly so given Shubman Gill didn't play. Again, you can't account for that. That's an
Hmm.
uncontrollable. But regardless, if you play an extra batter on this wicket, you're getting an additional at least 30 runs across both innings. At least.
At least, at least. No, I completely agree. The management got it wrong. They got it wrong. And I know, as Gautam Gambhir mentioned, this was the pitch they wanted for sure. But again, this is the pitch you wanted. It's not surprising anyone. You know how these pitches are in India. It's going to deteriorate. It's going to be disgusting by days 3 and 4. You're going to have to get a specialist batter. You don't need I agree completely. Kuldeep Yadav is there for when you need that extra spin, you need that deception. But when it's already doing bits, you have wicket to wicket bowlers. You have Akshar Patel, who we know is unreal in home conditions. You know you have Jaddu, who's always reliable, and we know how great Washington Sundar's form is this year. You don't
Yes.
need to overdo it, and I completely agree with you. Management missed it. Gautam Gambhir missed it. And look, I saw a stat somewhere. I think home losses under Shastri was 1, under Rahul Dravid was 1 as well. I think under Anil Kumble was maybe 2, but under
I don't.
Gautam Gambhir, it's 4.
Wow. 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 And we still got one to go.
And it's incredible. It's incredible.
And already we're talking about a 2-test series now, and India cannot win the series just off the first test. And the other side is South Africa can't lose the series either. And they feel like they've already won the series
They're one up.
for the fact that they can't lose it. That's how big of an impact winning this first test match was for them. So people are already calling for Gambhir's head, and they've been calling for his head. I don't know. I feel like if India loses the series, I think this management's gonna go. I don't think we can blame the players. I think it's just the team selections, the management, the fact that if it is again true that they're choosing these pitches, why would you want to play on pitches like this? When you don't even have to be a pundit to know that the Indian players are supremely skilled for any conditions. Yeah, you could say, okay, well, they should play on these conditions too. But with the way that the cricket is in this day and age, where the ability to apply yourself is a skill that isn't as highly developed as it used to be back in the day, right?
Hmm.
So why would you play into the opposition's hands by playing on a wicket that gives the opposition as much as a chance as it does India? Right? And you saw that in the England series when England came to India. This was, I think, last year or the year before, where they didn't play on shit tips. I think sorry, there was one that they played on. They lost that one. It was the first test where Tom Hartley took a 7 for on his
Hmm.
debut.
Yep.
Never mind, that was a shit tip too. So you're seeing repeated occurrences where opposing teams are able to play on these types of wickets because it removes the need to be highly skilled in your skill in order to perform. You can be average and just let the pitch do its thing. We saw
Yep.
Markram roll up and just take a wicket in the second over.
Yeah. Yeah. Again,
We've
bad
seen
balls are
we've
going for
seen
wickets.
we've seen Joe Root do that in the past. We've seen Kane Williamson. We've seen Michael Clark do it many, many years
Yeah.
ago. I
Yeah.
don't
No,
get
no.
it.
I agree. The bad ball could go for a wicket. And I think that's how Jarrell got out too. It was a hopper, but again, it came off slow. The arc of the ball was inconsistent, and Jarrell mistimed it. Hit off the toe end of his bat and got caught in the fielder, the only fielder outside the ring. It was incredible. It was a Not a good pitch. So now looking forward now, what sort of pitch do you think would be suited for India? Do you think a flatty? Or do you think like a red soil one where it's turning, but it's only turning? It's not breaking, it's just turning.
I'm super confused now because if Gigi is going out there and saying this is what they want, then this is probably what they're gonna ask again in the next test match. Because if they get something different, then it's like, okay, like so why'd you move away from
Yeah.
what you wanted, right? So you just put yourself. I just don't understand. Like I don't understand. Like I can see one side of it where he said it in a way like there's no excuse. We're not going to use the pitch as an excuse, right? And
Hmm.
he's putting it solely on skill and stuff. Okay, I get that, but to go and say that there were no demons in the wicket, like come on, you're bowling the ball like we're definitely not cricketers here, and we acknowledge that, but you're bowling the ball on the same area in the pitch. One ball is scooting low and the other one is jumping up high. How is that not demons? As a batter, how can you predict or assume how the ball is going to bounce if it's bouncing five different ways when the ball pitches in the same spot?
It's ridiculous. The highest score was 55 off of Bavuma's 55, which you mentioned was incredible. But that's the highest score in India. It's mind boggling.
By international players.
Yes.
We're not
Yes.
talking India B or India C or like Ranji Trophy. We're talking international standard players. Yeah, so I don't know what to expect for the next test match. Do you expect anything different or do you think it's going to be something similar?
No, okay. First of all, I think they're gonna be forced to play some full batsmen, obviously because Shubman Gill's off, so you need like a full batsman. I think GG should understand that. Yes, exactly right. If you're looking for the same type of pitch, take Kuldeep out, put in a proper batsman. Right, you have a lot on the bench, just put in a proper batsman. Right, that could be the difference. But I'll say this: if they decide to, for example, play on a flatty, play on like literally a road, I don't think India has the bats for that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super interesting because now most likely South Africa is going to play Rabada,
Hmm.
and Rabada can bowl on any wicket.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what it is. So you're pretty much screwed. He's going to be taking at least 5 wickets across both innings, at least 4 or 5
At
wickets.
least, yeah, yeah,
So yeah.
yeah.
So you're pretty much in a position now where either way you go, you got to play at your best. Otherwise, South Africa is going to get you because if you do a flat wicket, South Africa have the ability to play on flat wickets,
They have great
and
batsmen.
they have great batsmen, and they're used to those conditions more so than the spinning conditions. And I wonder if that is the what percentages Gambhir is trying to play here, where he's going with the fact that South Africa batsman is going to be worse off in spinning conditions than on a flat wicket where you could
Mhm.
have a couple of them apply themselves, right? Some of them have played
Yeah.
IPL, like Markram, Rickleton. They may be able to. You never know what could happen. But I could see the sense in that South Africa has a better shot on a flatter wicket than a spinning track. Well, here's another thing. I heard Ashwin say this on his analysis show, and that's a great show. If for anyone
Mhm.
who hasn't listened to Ashwin's show, the man is a cricketing savant. It is fun listening to
Yeah.
him. He made a comment. He said that this isn't a rank turner. A rank
Okay.
turner is one where the ball spins, but the bounce is true. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I agree.
it spins square. It can spin square, but you can trust the bounce, right? And that is a rank turner. That is a rank turner. This is not a rank turner. This is, in my opinion, as I said at the start of the show, this is just a shit pitch. Because in my opinion, what makes a bad pitch is what I said earlier, where if you bowl the same ball on the same area and it bounces three different ways, that's a bad pitch. But if it turns square, that's fine. As long as the bounce is true and you can trust that, yeah, it turns square, but I know how high it's going to bounce, great. That's fine. And I think that is what India needs, not this. This is just garbage.
No, and you're right. It is garbage, and you have inconsistent balance with inexperienced players. They're just not going to know how to convert, and that's exactly what happened. You had the experienced players like Bavuma being able to play and navigate the situation so beautifully, but unfortunately, the Jarrells, the Bunts, they're still very young, right? Then again, no excuses, but it does set up the next match very nicely for South Africa. They have the advantage. They have the selection advantage as well. And India now has to really figure out what sort of pitch do they want. And it's really you got to figure out which one is the lesser of evils.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting test match. It's lots of pressure in India. And when I say a lot, I'm saying a lot. This is probably one of the biggest test matches in Indian history in the last 5 to 10 years.
Easily.
As easily. And if India lose or even draw this test match, they are losing another series at home out of the last 3 series. And again, West Indies is West Indies. Nothing against West Indies. They're having their own challenges, but they weren't a worthy competitor for India in test matches. Okay. So if you're looking at New Zealand and South Africa, that's two very competitive test playing nations that India may not be able to beat, but we'll only find out after the second test match. So stay tuned for that. We look forward to bringing it to you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That's Stumps for today.